Hey guys, happy Easter first of all. Just want to run through this proposal that I put together for doing some Green Zebra paid search to drive traffic to get more bookings for Green Zebra tours. So I'm just going to run through this so you kind of understand how all the parts work together. Basically, we're looking at like a six step process, if you will. The very first step is to do some detailed keyword research to identify, as many different search terms as possible that make sense for Green Zebra, and try to identify, where people are, what their search intent is, and then organize those in such a way that that makes sense for starting some of this paid advertising. And that's really applicable to the Google AdWords stuff. So that's where we'll primarily be using that for the paid advertising for Green Zebra. So that's the very first step, is to do some detailed keyword research. And I did a little bit of that. That's what the other videos were. Started some of that to give you a sense for kind of the scope of what's out there now. And I'm sure there's other terms and categories that we can identify as we go too. So the next thing would be to set up the Google AdWords ad campaign. So that would be designing the ads, coming up with the copy to test. We would start off with 4 different initial test ads. I would work with you guys. We'd want to do something where we put in a very clear incentive or call to action, whether that's a discount or something else, and we might test different levels of incentive as well, just to see sometimes the things that aren't as significant work better than the more expensive stuff. So it just, again, would be something we'd have to test. So that would include the ad design and copywriting, and then we move into setting up on Facebook the same thing. So we would set up the Facebook and Instagram ad sets. Again, we would be doing an experiment where we would test different images, different text, different headlines, and different offers to see which one pulls the best and converts the best for this campaign. The next thing that we would do is design a landing page with e-commerce capability, so that when someone clicks on an ad because they're interested in learning more, that it would have all the information in one concise, well-designed page that's mobile friendly, because we're going to get a lot of people in these campaigns that are going to see these ads on their mobile device and will click through. So the email or the mobile integration needs to be really tight, and we can integrate Checkfront in that, the existing booking engine. We can do that, and right now it's really not set up for available inventory, but we can set it up so that when someone, if you want to reserve a certain number of cars, you can do that in the system, so that when someone books, and especially if we start getting a lot of bookings, having that inventory pretty accurate would make a difference. And right now we're really not doing that because of the store. So we can talk about that a little bit and figure out a way to make that work. But that'll be the thing that's important, is to get that integration so people can book, pay right then and there from the app. So then from there, we would want to, we would have all the components in place. We've had both Google AdWords and Facebook and Instagram ads set up. We have the landing page set up. So then it would be time to start driving traffic. So we would need initial ad spend. I put $2,000 in there, and again, the idea is that we're going to start very slowly, and we're going to ramp up as we see things convert and make changes as we go along the way. So again, starting very slowly and ramping up as we see things start to convert, and then and things, if they don't, we can back off and try different ads, that kind of thing. So that's sort of the process here. And then from there, we would do ongoing monitoring. So that would be me looking at the ads on a daily basis, look at the performance, just to make sure that everything is running correctly. And then as it optimizes, it will tell us that we have decisions to make. That for example, this particular headline is not working as well as another. This particular image is not converting as well as another one. And I'm going to show you an example of how this works here in a second in the actual software itself. So that would be to get the campaign up and running. And again, our whole objective here is to design a system that's going to get people to book. That is the whole objective. It's not just to send ads. So when I'm doing this stuff, everything that I'm doing is designing it so that we can get the most optimizations we can out of the gate, and then we're going to adjust as we go. So that's sort of the idea. Then, and Gina mentioned wanting to redo the Green Zebra website, the main website, which I think is a good idea. I mean, it definitely needs some stuff. I think that can be a pretty simple site, actually. I don't think it needs a whole lot of pages. Don't think it needs a whole lot of other stuff. I think it's a 3 or 4 page website at the most. And again, the whole focus would be to make it really mobile friendly and build in some search engine optimization elements as well, so that search engines will be more apt to pick it up from an organic standpoint. It would also include copywriting. For this site, I would also integrate Checkfront so people could book if they did find it, and then training on how to update the content in the back-end content management system, and then just kind of manage it from there. So that, in a nutshell, is the proposal. And there's a lot of traffic out there for people that are looking for things to do in Phoenix and for ATV. And like I said, once we do keyword research, we can probably come up with all kinds of other categories and ideas for other ways to come at this. So that's that in a nutshell is kind of what the proposal is. I also just wanted to show you really quickly one of the campaigns, kind of how the metrics work, so you get a sense for how I do that. All right, so here we are, and this is a fancy dashboard that I use to manage these campaigns. And this is an example from a client that's putting together a mountain bike online training course for mountain bikers. So although it's not the same as what we're doing, obviously the process is the same. And this campaign is currently paused, so that's why you see a flat line over here. But we tested this for a few days to kind of see what the conversions were like, and just want to give you a sense for how this works. So this is what we kind of look at from a high level when we're running these campaigns, is to look at the click-through rates. So click-through meaning when someone's presented with that ad, what percentage of people click on the ad and go to whatever action you want them to take. The other big thing we look at is cost per click. We obviously try to minimize this, keep it as low as possible. How many clicks we actually got, how many impressions meaning how many times that ad was presented to people, how much ad spend we had, how many conversions. And in this case, a conversion was somebody that went to a landing page, put in their name and email address for this course, and we had 48 of those in this particular period. And we have cost per impression. So our cost per conversion is the other metric that's really important that we look at, is, well, how much does it cost us to get one of these conversions? So we're trying to minimize this. Social impressions would be, how many people left a comment, shared it with somebody, from a social media standpoint. So on Facebook, they might have shared it with their on their Facebook wall. They might have left a comment. They might have given it a thumbs up, that kind of stuff. So from there, you can see here that in this case, we were targeting 4 countries. We were targeting specific age groups. And then we were targeting a bunch of different interests related to mountain biking. And so we will do the same kind of thing with the Green Zebra. So obviously it's different, but again, concept is the same. So you can see here when I'm talking about multivariate testing, when we run this over time, it gives us the top factors as they relate to conversion. So in this case, age was the biggest factor, then the text we used in the ads, then the image, and then the headline. So as these things run, it will tell us, the software will tell us over time which one of these age groups to choose to optimize. So, and this is where it's a real blend of art and science, because we can take the data and make decisions, but then it's a very creative side of it in terms of choosing the text and the imagery and the messaging and all that stuff. So you can see here that in this age group from 40 to 49, we had a heck of a lot more clicks. Our click-through rate was significantly higher. Our cost per click was significantly lower. We had significantly more conversions, 26% to 20%. Our cost per conversion was quite a bit less, blah, 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 on and on. So in this case, we would choose the 40 to 49 and pause these guys, the 50 to 59, because it's not performing as well. So that's the process, is taking these variables and seeing which ones perform the best, and then just continuing to optimize. So it also tells us in this case, what the performance is by country, and then we also see here what the top ads. So again, this is the idea. We're testing several different ads with different images, different headlines, and that sort of thing. Then we also measure the overall performance. So this had a 2.7% click-through rate from the ad to the landing page, which is extremely good. Our cost per click is extremely good. And in this particular case, we had almost 24% conversion, which is insane. So people, you targeted a specific audience and it really resonated with them. So it's the same idea. And then just one other thing really quick. Let's look at, just want to show you one other thing, how we do this stuff. So you can see here that we've got 3 different images, and we can again measure the performance of these different ads. So let's look at, I guess it's already up there. So you can see that each ad had different conversion rates. So this one had 40%. This guy had 25%. The picture with Steve on it didn't it's a great conversion rate, but it didn't perform as well. So we might pause this image and then see who wins between these 2 other images here. So this is how we would do all this stuff. Just want to give you a sense that it's not just random. It's very technical. And if you do it and you get everything right, and you're willing to do those experiments, for most businesses this stuff will work, because there's an audience, and there's definitely an audience searching for for Green Zebra services out there. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense to you all. If you have any questions at all, please let me know and be happy to talk to you.